Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. Today, we are joined by Tyler from Aspire Atlantic. We have recently partnered with Aspire Atlantic, so we are going to just do a quick overview of who they are, and then we'll touch up on details of sports scholarships that we're going to be offering and things like that. So just want to quickly share the presentation. Okay, perfect. So yeah, I'm going to hand it over to Tyler to give a short little introduction of who Aspire Atlantic is, and then we'll get into it.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, Amy, thank you so much for that intro. Yeah, we recently started working with Sable International, which is a very exciting initiative for everyone at Aspire Atlantic, and I think all of the student athletes that are part of our program. And obviously, there are a lot of people probably joining this call or who have already joined this call that aren't a part of Aspire. So working with you, Amy, is pretty exciting. A little background on who we are. So Aspire Atlantic was started in about 2015 after I had finished my journey of studying and playing soccer in the United States. I was very privileged growing up to have the opportunity to go on trials all over the world with my soccer. And I went to the UK at about the age of 15, and I was very unfortunate, or maybe lacking in the talent. So I didn't sign any professional contracts. So, I was a little bit disheartened, but after chatting with my family and, looking at the various options, I got the opportunity to go to the States, where I won myself a scholarship to play soccer, which paid for a significant portion of my degree. So the university that I attended was around $45,000 per year. I got about a 90% scholarship, and that really reduced it down to about $5,000, and it was a fantastic experience. Now, a lot of our athletes do get full scholarships, some get less than full scholarships. It really just depends on the athlete, and we're here today to kind of walk you through that process and see how we can assist. A little overview on Aspire. We've got 100% placement rate. As I mentioned earlier, we were founded in 2015, and to date we've sent over 600 South African students and international students really to the USA to play their sports and get a higher education. On average, our athletes who are qualified, who go through the evaluation process, are earning on average about $35,000 per year. So it's a significant amount of discount that our athletes are getting. So we're excited to share this with you guys today. A little bit more about the university education system. So, if you're looking at the South African system, you'll probably know there's around 25-30 South African, institutions. In the States, there's over 4,500 of them. So there's a huge amount of opportunities for students of all, shapes and sizes. We don't just help athletes. If a student does approach us, we are very flexible in helping them through the admissions process, but we are super passionate about changing lives through sport, and that's really what we focus on. What's interesting is that there's about 625,000 student athletes. About 125,000 of those are internationals. And what's really cool is that, if you look at the South African university graduation rates, they're sitting at about between 15 and 20% graduation from first year to third year graduation. In the States, specifically, athletes are graduating at about a 92% rate. So every student that starts freshman year finishes their senior year at a 92% rate. So it's significantly higher than what we here in South Africa are experiencing. Here's just a brief overview of some of the past athletes that we've assisted along the way. These are the creme de la creme, gone to some world-class universities like Princeton, University of Cincinnati, Oregon, Texas, with students at Dartmouth. We really are able to help students, not just in the elite category, but students really across the board who are super passionate about their sports. So if you want to learn a little bit more about some of these kids, please feel free to reach out to us afterwards, and I'll be happy to walk you through who we've placed and the types of schools we've dealt with in the States. In the USA, if you kind of look at the difference between degree pathways, you'll know that it's a 4-year journey in the USA. So in South Africa, generally the undergraduate pathway is 3+1, 3-year undergrad, 4th year will be your honors year. In the States, it's not really like that. It's generally a 4-way pathway. You can go through some accelerated universities where they speed that up. You just take more credits per semester. But generally it's 4 years. So you get freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. And that is an internationally recognized internationally recognized bachelor's with an honors degree, all wrapped into one. Don't let the term college or junior college scare you too much. There are many different pathways that you can follow to getting a 4-year bachelor's degree. You can go to a university, which is very similar to the South African universities, internationally recognized, offers undergraduate and postgraduate studies. Then you get something called a college. Now, this is really where South African parents and students get a bit confused. Colleges here are generally a little bit more technical, whereas in the States, a college can be whereas the States, a college can also provide that theoretical pathway, and it provides the same bachelor's degree as a university does. And then there's a third pathway that you can follow. It's called junior college, right? And that's a 2-year associate's degree that a lot of our students go to for various different reasons. So, if a student doesn't have the financial capability, they can go through a junior college, and then they can still get that first 2-year credits and then transfer to a university or a college straight into their 3rd year, right? So there's no going to a college or a junior college and then going to a university, but having to start again. You can take those credits and transfer them to the universities. Obviously, there are certain nuances between different universities. So not all universities will take a junior college associate's degree, but there are a lot of partners, and that's why we're here. We're here to help facilitate that whole process and make this journey easy for you. A little bit more about the sports. There are 3 major athletic associations that govern American university sports. There's the NCAA, the NAIA, and the NJCAA, as you guys can see from the screen. The major one that we're really going to cover today is the NCAA. It's probably most people have heard about it. All the universities that you see on, in Hollywood and on TV are generally part of the NCAA. There's 3 divisions, and 460,000 student athletes compete across those divisions. So it's quite a vast association. Now, I want to talk about divisions within the NCAA. So don't get confused with regards to divisions. Most students and parents that approach us either want to go Division 1 or nothing, because they associate division with the quality of the institution. Now, Division 1 is just the highest level of sport. It doesn't mean that it's the best university. So, if you looked at it from that perspective, most people on this call would have heard of a university called MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, world class, top 5 in the world, pretty much perennially every single year. They're highly ranked globally. They're a Division 3 NCAA institution. So from that perspective, it's important to realize that they're great Division 2s, they're great Division 3s. The facilities are world class. We just got back from a university soccer tour on Sunday, and some of our students completely wrote off Division 2. But when they got back from this tour and they saw University of Tampa, which is a D2 school, they were blown away. Even our chaperone, one of our newer employees, had never gone to the States before, but he played Bulls rugby and he played Currie Cup for the Pumas. So he'd experienced the best facility South African rugby has to offer. And he was saying University of Tampa has got better facilities than anything he came across. So please don't write off Division 3 and Division 2 universities. It's purely just a sporting ranking. Okay, and then there's obviously the NAIA and NJCAA, but it's a little bit too technical for this call. So please feel free to reach out to us and we can run you through this in detail. With regards to rugby, obviously rugby is quite a big and exciting one. It isn't governed by the NCAA, it's governed by USA Rugby, and there are 3 major athletic associations underneath it. And there are a whole bunch of eligibility requirements that students have to hurdle in order to be able to play rugby. So there's 2 different pathways. You have to get into the university, and then you have to be cleared by the association. But if you have any questions about the technicalities of this, I am more than happy to set up a call and get a lot deeper into the technicalities of this. There is a draft system, obviously, for most young, talented South African rugby players. Their dream is to play professional rugby, and we also help facilitate this. So there's a draft process, there's a combine process that you can enter into, and you can definitely pursue that professional route. We did have one student who signed a pro contract with the Los Angeles Giltinis. They're a Major League Rugby side based out of LA. He played one season there and then realized that maybe the professional pathway wasn't for him. And then now he's gone into the corporate world. So, we have a proven track record of assisting top talent to go to world-class universities and still play pro rugby or pro sports after they finish. Guys, the SAT, most of you would have heard a lot about the SAT. It was a major part of the admissions process prior to COVID. A lot has changed since then. The leagues and associations no longer require it. It used to be a major cornerstone. It no longer is. And a lot of universities, 75% of them said, you have to take the SAT. That is no longer the case, but it is still an important metric to measure students' ability to attend college, right? It measures college readiness. And a lot of universities, although they don't require it, still love it. And it will boost your application if you take it. So we always recommend that you take the Scholastic Aptitude Test. English and math, 1,600 points, and it's taken multiple times per year. It's an adaptive test taken online, so every test is going to be different. If you're sitting next to someone in the lecture theatre, you're going to have a completely different test to them, so cheating is not really an option at all. University costs. Now, this is really where it gets a little bit interesting. American universities, on face value, are significantly more expensive than European universities. However, that is generally not what students pay. The scholarships, grants, financial aid process in the USA is very, very generous. And generally, most students that qualify for our program are going to get some significant funding. The Ivy Leagues have an interesting process. I think 5 out of the 8 Ivy Leagues have something called Need Blind. So what that means is when you apply, they're not going to look at your financial capability to pay. They will admit you based off of your merit. And then once you've been accepted, they will then look at your finances. And whatever you can pay based off of their analysis, that's what you pay. So we've had students that pay $2,000, others that pay $50,000 based off of their financial capabilities. Major universities, you get private and public universities, they range between 40 and 70. Public are a little bit cheaper. But what's interesting is private universities do offer a lot more generous financial aid packages when it's compared to public or state universities. So that 30 and 40,000 that you're seeing on the screen will come down quite significantly. And then junior colleges are a lot cheaper, and the scholarships are generally quite generous for the junior college process. Sorry, let me just go back one slide. With regards to the sports scholarship process, there are 2 different major types of scholarships. There's the full ride scholarship, which covers everything from housing, food, and tuition. And then you get partial scholarships like a full tuition. And don't get confused with full tuition. A lot of parents think, oh, we've got a full scholarship, but it's actually tuition. You still have to pay housing and food, and that can be quite pricey from that perspective. There are additional strategies and ways that we help our students to reduce the costs, such as work study. You can work on campus for around 20 hours per week, make around $7,000 per year, which is quite neat and tidy for internationals who are looking for some spending money. And then there's also resident assistant programs where you can then become a dorm leader, where you stay in the dorms. They provide you with a room, ensuite bathroom, kitchen, all of that, the nicer facilities of a dorm. And then you just become a leader in that facility, and they give that all for free, which can be up to about $15,000 to $20,000 in savings, which is something we can walk you through after this call. What sports scholarships cover, I touched on this briefly. Academics, course materials such as books, room and board, which is housing and food, and then events and team travel. So if you get into an NCAA team and it's considered a varsity level sport, which is what varsity means, is that it's sanctioned by the university and it's fully funded by the university, they will actually cover your travel, your flights, your food, your kit, all of that type of stuff. So I know South African parents, when the schools go on tours, you get an email. But with regards to playing sports in the States, that is all covered by the university. So it's really, really nice. And guys, that is it from me. So thank you so much for listening in. I know that I went through it very quickly, but the purpose of this call is to try and engage with you guys a little bit more one-on-one and really assess your students or your children's pathway and help you study and play in the States. And obviously, I'm going to hand over to Amy, who's going to walk you through the UK, Europe, and Australian pathway. So thank you, everyone, for your time. And Amy, thank you.
Cool, thank you so much. I did see that there's one question from Vanessa. She said, do I need a degree to join sports? Tyler, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. No, you absolutely don't need to be, you don't need to have a degree. We actually start recruiting students from grade 9 in high school, and we place them in university. So the process is quite an extended process. American university coaches start reaching out and engaging with students from the middle of grade 11. So ideally for us, we like to talk to parents whose kids are in grade 10, and then we have that year really to build a strong profile and market them to our partners in the States, because you can only start getting offers from the middle of grade 11. So it is for university, but we start in high school.
Then we have another question. What sporting achievements do you need to secure a scholarship?
So that will be assessed by us. So, generally, if you're a time-based sport, so if you're a swimmer or an athlete, there's multiple different types of events, track and field events, swimming events. There's specific times around that. And if you submit your times to us and your events, we can do an analysis. And even if you're not there, we don't want you joining our process when you're an Olympian, because, you're probably going to be a professional athlete. We like to bring in students that have a lot of potential, and we like to guide and counsel them in setting goals and managing those expectations and really getting them on the right pathway to achieving what they need to achieve. There's no point in coming to us in matric. It might be a little bit too late. So speak to us early, understand the process, and we can really guide you through what you need to be achieving for soccer, for rugby, for tennis, for golf. We do multiple different types of sports. So chat to us nice and early, and we can get you on the right pathway.
Perfect. So I'm going to do 2 more questions, and then I'm going to start, and then we can leave. We're going to do a little Q&A session at the end. But I think the one is about entry requirements. So do you need a report card, a matric certificate for the junior colleges?
Yes, so you would have to graduate high school, and you'd need to pass. You need to get above 40% in order to be eligible to look at junior colleges. Obviously, doing much better than that is required, but we have sent students to junior colleges with above. Anything below 40%, American institutions don't recognize as a pass. So even in South Africa, 33% is okay. 40% is the minimum they will look at for matric.
Okay. And then I just want to touch on this one question about postgrad scholarships. I think that's quite a good question. Do the universities offer scholarships for postgrad students, or is it only for undergrad students?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. So there is a time window in order to play sports. As a postgraduate student, you're only allowed to compete for 5 years post high school. So if you're finishing, 3 years after you graduate, if you matriculate, then you would have 2 years to compete at the college level. But it's a five-year window, and it starts counting down the moment you graduate. So you wouldn't be able to get your degree, start working, and then go back and play college sports. You'd have to get your degree in South Africa or in the States or wherever you want. We help students from all over the world, really. And then you'd need to go straight. It would need to be within that 5-year window for you to get a sports scholarship as a postgraduate student.
Okay, cool. Perfect. So I'm just going to carry on, and then
Awesome.
Afterwards we'll do a Q&A, so you guys can ask all the questions you'd like. So I'm just going to do a short introduction to Sable and just touch on the scholarships. Obviously, Tyler has covered the US, so I'll be covering the UK, Europe, and Australia. So yeah, if you have any questions, you can pop it in the chat, but we will have a Q&A at the end. So who is Sable? So Sable International helps people internationalize themselves, their wealth, and their business. We consist of a number of different business units that offer a variety of services, as you can see in the image over there. Today, I'm just going to cover a little bit. I'm not going to go too in depth, but I'm going to just go over some details of the scholarships that are offered, eligibility, accommodation, fees, with including the scholarship and excluding the scholarship. I'm going to touch on the student visa, health cover, and then the sport universities that we work with. So our study abroad department facilitates the application process for students who want to study outside of Africa. So we assist with university applications, country and university selection, student visa, on-campus accommodation booking, and pretty much everything to ensure that you guys are there safe and sound. For today, I'm going to focus on the UK, Australia, and Ireland. We do have universities based all over Europe, but they don't necessarily offer sports scholarships. So what students normally do is they'll play for a club and then they'll study at our universities. But if you are interested in studying in the Netherlands or Germany, or you're interested in pursuing a sports scholarship there, then you're more than welcome to contact us and we can assist you with that. But the scholarships that these countries offer. So you will notice that a lot of the scholarships are categorized by performance level, scheme. Some of them are just for elite athletes or they're sport focused. So when they're categorized in performance level, you would be playing at a national level, a provincial level, or a school level. And then for the schemes, it would be gold, silver, or bronze. So these categories would determine how much your scholarship will be. So for the UK, they're mainly between about £200 to £8,000 per year. For Australia, they're about 2,000 to about 4,000 Australian dollars per year. And then Ireland, about 500 to 7,000 euros per year. Obviously, whatever level you're at determines how much it is. But it'll also be university dependent on where these funds go. So you'll see universities will either provide these funds towards your training and competition expenses, or it'll be given as cash, some of them deducted from your tuition fees, and some of them will split it between cash and support services. So it completely depends on the university and it completely depends on the scholarship that you're applying for. Eligibility. So you'll see that I have categorized it into 3 levels. So the education level, the scholarships are offered to both undergraduate and postgraduate students. There's no age limit to the sports scholarships, but for the student visas, you will need to be a certain age in order to qualify for the student visa. So that kind of determines the age level that you'll need to be, but there is no set age limit for the sports scholarships. And then the sporting level, as I mentioned earlier, you could be competing at a regional, national, or international standard, or even at a school level. Completely depends on the scholarship that you're applying for and the scholarships that the universities offer. But most of the time, you'll have to be able to demonstrate your excellence in your chosen sport. Obviously, Aspire will assist you with that. That'll be through videos and things like that. But you will notice that a lot of the countries like the UK has the British universities and colleges sports. That's kind of like their sporting body. And you'll just need to ensure that your sport is recognized by that body in order for you to qualify for the sports scholarship. So for Ireland, they have Sport Ireland, but we will assist you with that. And then the academic requirements, you just need to ensure that you are in the process of applying for a university program or academic program, or you've already been accepted by an academic program. So you can't apply for the sports scholarship and then apply for a university program. It has to go the other way around. So unlike the US, you will need to be enrolled in the university in order to qualify for the sports scholarship. And then accommodation. So these universities offer a variety of different accommodation options. It'll also be at different prices, but the basics is on-campus accommodation. So you'll be staying on campus with your fellow academics. I always recommend this if you're an undergrad student because you make friends, you join clubs, it just gives you that university experience. And then there are private residencies, which is, it's still on campus, but it's at a higher cost and it's more of a private accommodation option. And then purpose-built, which is a lot of universities will buy large apartment blocks around the universities and they will open that to students. And then you can also look at accommodation at sports development centers. So this is mostly for athletes. It's not guaranteed. Some universities offer it, but if you do qualify for it, the universities will normally let you know. It's not normally something that you can apply for, but we obviously will assist you through that process. So tuition fees and living expenses. So excluding scholarships, these are the tuition fees per year. So it's quite varied. I couldn't obviously give the exact tuition fees, but when you're pursuing programs in the sciences or medicine or something like that, it's more costly than if you're pursuing something in the arts or business. So they will be obviously more to the more expensive side, but this is kind of the averages that you'll be looking at for the countries that we work for. And then the living expenses is determined by the student visas. So when you have your student visa, you'll have to show that you are able to fund the first year of the living expenses. So for like the UK, it's between £9,000 to £12,000. Australia, it's about 20,000 Australian dollars. And then you'll see for our European countries, it's usually between about 9 to about 14 or 15,000 euros per year. And then including the scholarships, I focused on the tuition fees. So for the UK, including the scholarship, it'll be about £6,500 to about £22,000. Obviously, this completely depends on the scholarship that you qualify for. So if you're only qualifying for a scholarship that's on the silver level, then your scholarship won't be as big as someone that's qualifying for a scholarship that's on a gold level or the gold scheme. So it's very much dependent on the student, but this is kind of an average of what you'd be looking at, including the scholarships. The payment plan. So as an international student, one of the conditions of your offer is that you will need to make an advance payment, which is what you would call a deposit. So this is normally a percentage of your tuition fees that you would pay before you get your student visa. So you'll get your unconditional offer from the university, you'll have to pay your deposit. Once you have all of that, then you can apply for your student visa. So the remaining funds of your tuition fees, you can pay upfront or you can pay through installments. So it completely depends on the university, but most of the time you can pay per semester. So you can pay it twice a year, or you can pay it 8 to about 10 times a year. It completely depends on the university. And then for Ireland, if you are an SA passport holder, you don't need a student visa to enter Ireland. You'll get one upon arrival. So for Ireland, instead of you having to show the funds that you need for the student visa, you have to pay the first year of your tuition fees upfront. So that first year of your tuition fees is separate to the deposit. So you'll pay your deposit first, and then after that, you'll pay the first year of your tuition fees. So the student visas. I'm just going to touch on it. I'm not going to go too much into detail, otherwise we'll be sitting here forever. But for the UK, what you need to remember is once you've got your unconditional acceptance from the university, you'll be issued something called a CAS. So this is your confirmation of acceptance. So this is what you use to apply for your student visa. So once you have your CAS, everything's A-okay, the university's happy for you to start studying there, you apply for your student visa. And in order to be eligible for the student visa, you need your CAS, you need to show that you have substantial funds to pay your tuition fees and living expenses. Most of the time you'll have to write an English test. So this can be waived. It completely depends on the university, it depends on the student, but most of the time you will have to write the English test. You need to show that you have no criminal record, and then you'll have to do a medical exam to show that you're in good health. And you'll need to prove that after you finish studying, you will return back to your home country. If you are interested in immigrating to the UK, if you are using studying as an immigration route, or you're interested in immigrating to the UK after you finish studying, Sable can assist you with that because we have an in-the-house UK immigration team. But the study limits on the student visa. So your student visa is valid for the duration of your course. So if you're studying for 4 years, your student visa is valid for 4 years. If you want to pursue a postgrad, then we can assist you with that as well, but you will have to go on a different student visa. You'll have to reapply for a student visa. Then the application process, I'm not going to go too much into detail into that, but gather all the necessary documents, book your TB test, create an online profile. Our admissions advisor will assist you with that. I'm not going to go into that, but the one thing to keep in mind is the financial documents that you need to show. So for your student visa, you need to show that you can support yourself for the first year of the tuition fees and the first year of the living expenses. Obviously, if you are granted a sports scholarship, this will be deducted from the amount that you need to show. And then also for the UK, you need to add a 10% extra for to account for the exchange rate. And then the living expenses that you'll need to show, it's £9,000 outside of London and then £12,000 within London. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the health cover in the next few slides, but with your financial documents, you need to pay your immigration health surcharge. So this is your medical aid, if you want to call it, while you're in the UK. So it's £470 per year of studies. So if you're studying for 3 years, if you're studying for 1 year, if you're studying for 2 years, it doesn't matter. You need to pay that amount upfront. So it'll be 470 times 3 if you're doing an undergrad without an honours. And then the visa application fee is £363. And then the medical fee that I mentioned earlier, showing that you're in good health, that will also need to be added. So for Australia, it's quite a simple or similar process. So instead of getting your CAS, you'll get your COE, which is confirmation of enrollment. So that is what you'll use to apply for your student visa, but you'll also have to pass a GTE, which shows that you will be returning to your home country after you finish studying. But if you are interested in immigrating to Australia after you finish studying, then we can assist you with that as well, because we do also have an in-house Australian immigration team. But it's the same process. Gather all your documents, receive your COE, and then open an account. As I said, our admissions team will assist you with that. But the finances that need to be shown is the first year of the tuition fees, and then the first year of the living expenses. For the Australian government, it's capped at about 21,000 Australian dollars per year. And then you will need to add or show that you have airfare, which is about 2,500 Australian dollars. And then if you are granted your scholarship, this will be deducted from the amount that you need to show. So similar to the UK, the health cover that you'll have to pay for Australia is the overseas student health cover. I'll go into a little bit more detail into that in the next few slides. And then the visa application fee is 620 Australian dollars, and then plus the medical fee, the same as with the UK, you need to show that you have good health. And then for Ireland, so as I mentioned earlier, if you have a South African passport, you don't need a visa for Ireland. To enter Ireland, you'll get it upon arrival. So if you do have a passport that is not South African, then you will go through the same process. So it's complete online application form. Our admissions advisors will coach you through that. So health cover. This is quite important because as athletes, it's something that you'll use a little bit more than a student that is just going abroad to study. But for the UK, you get what's called an immigration health surcharge. As I mentioned earlier, it's 470 per year of your studies that you'll have to pay up front. The one thing with the UK is even if you're not going to use the immigration health surcharge, you will still have to pay that amount. So if you decide to go private, you'll still have to pay the immigration health surcharge. But this is different with Australia and Ireland. So for Australia, you can actually organize your own private health cover, but you'll just need to prove that you have paid it, and that will be included in your student visa application. So it can be organized by the universities. When you get your unconditional acceptance, they will recommend kind of health cover that you can choose, but you can do it privately. And if you do it privately, you just need to show proof of that. The same with Ireland. Private medical insurance cover is required. The college can arrange this for you, but you can also do it privately. You just need to show proof that you have health cover. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any questions. I'm just going to read from the question box. I see someone asked, if I get my Cambridge A-level results in the beginning of August, will I still be eligible for the for junior college for soccer? I think that's for you, Tyler.
So you would be eligible for next August. So if you get it this August, it would be too late for you to apply and get accepted into a university this August. So you'd have to go in either to the January admissions, the January acceptance window, or the August enrollment period. So yeah, you'd have to wait until a different period. I hope that made sense. Any other questions for Amy? I see one here. Amy, do you work with any universities in South Spain?
We do, but they do not offer sports scholarships. So what would happen is we would probably assist you with finding a club that you could play for, and then you could enroll in one of our universities, but they don't offer sports scholarships, unfortunately. Okay. Which country are South African athletes more likely to get a sports scholarship? Ooh, that's quite a difficult question to answer. I don't think it's about being a South African. I think it's obviously the sport level that you're at, but maybe Tyler can answer kind of the common sports that maybe South Africans play, the common sports that you play students in or for.
Sure. Yeah, I think getting back to the question before I answer yours, Amy, is absolutely right. It's the level that the athlete is on, and then also the variances in the prices. So American universities are a lot more expensive than European universities. So when we get scholarships, on average, it brings down the price to be in line with studying in, say, like a Europe or Australia or somewhere like that, unless you are really, really talented. Then obviously you can go for free. But it once again, it just depends on your level, on how academically strong you are and how athletically capable you are. Some of the more common sports that we work with are, most of the major sports that we have here in South Africa: basketball, hockey, swimming, soccer, running, golf, tennis, water polo. Most of the sports, and there's less common sports like equestrian we've helped out before, rowing, squash. There's really opportunities for many different types of sports. So if you're wondering, is my sport played, please just reach out to us and we can do a quick assessment and see if we can assist you. I hope that helps.
Perfect. And to play at a provincial level, does it qualify for a gold level scholarship? So speaking from a UK and Australian perspective, it's normally at international level that you need to be playing at to qualify for gold. So you would probably qualify for silver. As I said, it's very much also on an individual basis and on a university basis. So you're more than welcome to reach out to us. We will be sending out an email or follow-up email tomorrow. It'll include all our contact details. So you're more than welcome to pop me a WhatsApp or an email, and I can have a look at your individual needs, and then we can take it from there. So how can I help with a grade 10 female playing hockey in SA, but would like to go to Australia on a hockey scholarship? She's a non-SA citizen. I think the best thing for you to do is maybe just reach out to me, because obviously there's a few things I need to look at before I can advise. So you're more than welcome to pop me an email tomorrow. As I said, you will get all our contact details in the follow-up email tomorrow, and I'll be happy to help. Perfect.
Any others here? Maybe there was some above that we didn't answer. Do junior colleges need a report card? Matric, yes, you've answered that.
Oh, what if I've started getting my achievements in grade 12? Do I still get a chance to qualify for a scholarship?
Yeah, it's definitely not too late. We just like to work with students a lot earlier to get you on the right pathway and do an academic eligibility assessment. But if you're only really performing out of your socks in matric, absolutely fine. Some people develop at different speeds. Reach out to us and we can assist. We've helped post-matrics, we've helped postgraduates, so there is no real timeline. We just prefer to start working early.
So one question is, what is the cost involved in assessments? When it comes to Sable International, if you're asking how we can assist with your application process, our services are free of charge. But I think with Aspire, it works differently because obviously they're assessing you at a sport level. But when it comes to the academics, our services are free of charge. But maybe Tyler can touch on the sport side of it.
Yeah, I think the assessment or the evaluations phase of our process is absolutely free. You can come to us, submit your report cards. We can either assess you in person if you're close to us, or we can look at times, video footage, all that kind of stuff. And that assessment is for free. Should you want to join Aspire Atlantic's program, we do charge some fees, and we can talk a little bit about that on a call afterwards. It's nothing compared to what you've seen on the screens here, but Sable International, they are agents of the universities. We are consultants for the parents. So we consult with students and their parents, whereas Sable work for the universities. They've got 400 or 500 universities that they're partnered up with. So there is a difference between the organizations, but we'd love to chat a little bit more and see how we can assist afterwards.
Perfect. Does anyone have any other questions? Nope. Let's see if... Yeah, I think we covered all the questions. But I mean, as I said, we will be sending out a follow-up email tomorrow. You guys are more than welcome to contact us. We'll set up a consultation, have a chat, see what your unique needs and wants are, and then we take it from there. We very much work on an individual basis.
I see there's one last one here, Amy. I'm interested in a paddle. I think you said paddle scholarship. Currently 25 years old. Will I be eligible? Look, that's not a sport we have any experience in. So unfortunately, we would have to do some research and assist you with the admissions process and find a paddle club. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't answer that. Amy, would you be able to answer that question?
I think not. I think it's a good question from the age-wise. So I'll have to double check which universities have that sport for their sports scholarships. But age-wise, table tennis, yes. So we do have a few UK universities that do have table tennis. But age-wise, I think you wouldn't necessarily qualify for an undergraduate degree. You would be classified as a mature student. So that's when I said when it comes with the student visa. So most of the time for undergraduate students, they'll be between the ages of about 18 to 25, and then postgrad students will be about 25 and above. So it very much depends on what level you're applying for. So if you are a 25-year-old that has an undergraduate degree in something else, then you would be eligible, but you just need to be careful that I wouldn't necessarily say you would qualify for undergraduate programs. And some universities do offer scholarships for undergrad and postgrad, and some of them are just undergrad. So I mean, we can have a look and see what level you're playing at as well, and take it from there. Yes, they are. There's many of them that provide netball scholarships. I think it's also, as I said, depending on what level you play at. So if you're playing at provincial, international, maybe at school level, it completely depends on the university. So you're more than welcome to pop me an email and we can take it from there. But yeah, there definitely is. I already signed for school. How can one get funding for tuition? So universities do also offer tuition scholarships outside of sports. That's something that maybe we can chat about on email, but they do offer different type of scholarships as well. So there would be some for just tuition, excluding or outside of sports scholarships, yeah. As a South African, we have no idea about universities. Yes, we do. So that's what we specialize in. So after we set up the consultation, we'll have a chat. It's not only finding out what you want to study, but it's also your end goal. Where do you want to work? What do you see yourself doing one day? We very much specialize in recommending the best universities according to postgraduate work opportunities, according to internship opportunities. We look at the student holistically. So yes, we can definitely assist with that, finding the correct fit for you.
And the same thing from an Aspire Atlantic side. Absolutely. Look at your preferences, your abilities, your financial needs, your postgraduate requirements, all of that stuff.
Perfect.
Okay, I think that's it, Amy.
Yeah. If you have any more questions, as I said, you guys are more than welcome to pop us an email. But yeah, thank you for coming out tonight. And thank you, Tyler, for introducing everyone to Aspire. And we are excited to see what comes from it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone. You have a fantastic evening. And Amy, we'll chat soon. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.